Hi, my name is Roy Collin, and welcome to the show. I've also got five podcasts: the Awakening Podcast, exposing fraud and corruption, but with solutions; the Crypto Podcast, talking about all things blockchain, NFTs, crypto; the Meditation Podcast, talking about all different types of meditation, but there's also meditations there from 1 minute to 2 hours. And the other one's the Learn Polish Podcast. So if you're interested in learning Polish, you can do that. And the other one is Speaking with Roy Collin. And I just have guests from around the world talking about either public speaking or also about their book or just general life in general. And you'll find everything on bio.link/podcaster. I'm also a podcasting coach. And you see the QR code there, and it's also on my link as well. And if you're interested in actually going on some podcast shows, I'm helping people doing that. Or if you're interested in sponsorship, you can contact me. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, DanielPacker.com. He helps people with anxiety, stress, and addictions. He's got a 90% success rate, and you only pay if you're successful. So be sure to check him out, DanielPacker.com. I hope you enjoy this week's show. Welcome to the Speaking Podcast. You can find all our episodes on speakingpodcast.com. My guest today, originally from California, but living in Tokyo now. From going to jail to finding his life's purpose to becoming a mindset training and nutrition coach. Please welcome Izaiah Dillion. Did I say it?
Yep. Yeah, that's perfect. Izaiah Dillion. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so I mean, obviously, we have to know your journey before you kind of transition. So let's hear the bad stuff first. Unfortunately, it's all of our life's journey, and let's hear yours. How you ended up behind bars.
Yep. So I'm from a small city in California called Stockton. So anyone that keeps up maybe with some UFC, a fighter named Nate Diaz, he's from there. So yeah, small city, California, and it's to this day it's been about top 15 most dangerous cities in all of the US. So I just grew up around obviously a lot of those same people that were doing bad things, and I joined in with those people. I was started off stealing, started off doing a lot of things, and just got around the wrong crowd from the beginning. And always knew that I shouldn't have been around those people, but you get around enough people doing that, you're going to start to fall into those tendencies. And that's what happened. Long story short, I would steal a lot of things, never got caught, built my confidence up as a young kid, 14, 15 years old, doing this repetitively. And then eventually got caught, did some jail time. That's what really like made the big switch for me. I knew that I was definitely going down the wrong path. Caught a couple felonies, a few misdemeanors, and I just really sat down, took some time to reflect, and realized that the path I was going on was not who I was meant to be. And long story short, I've stuck to a path of self-development that includes reading, self-reflection, and then getting active every single day, which puts me at the highest frequency state of mind, and it's completely changed my life around to where I am today.
Very good. So I suppose, like, did you come like from the home? How were things at home? Did you come from a normal family, or was there single parent, or what was the upbringing like?
Yeah, single parent. It was just me, my mom, and then my twin sister. So me and her, it was just us three living like pretty much struggling a lot. My mom dealt with massive depression because of the things she had gone through with my father. Never met my father, and then yeah, so it was just me, my mom, and my twin sister growing up out in Stockton, downtown.
The reason I'm asking that is, like, I'm not sure you're aware, but that's orchestrated in the States, and it's kind of rippling across the waters as well, where they want to break up the family, and a mother doesn't have the same. It's not the love. I think the mother gives more love than anybody, but
Hmm.
the father figure in the house, because it's something like 40% in the States at the moment, which is incredible. Whereas probably you see it, you're in Tokyo, no, that could be 3% or something like that. Is a massive difference. Whereas that's why, like, when you go off in the beaten track, like, they're not watching you, they're not making sure who you're hanging around with and everything. And I think that's why these things happen. And the reason I'm saying it is it's happening a lot, and it's orchestrated, and it's a shame. So when you went in, how long were you actually in prison for?
So it wasn't prison. I was just in jail for 5 days. Luckily, it was only 5 days. But yeah, like you were saying, I think like the thing for me, my mom knew that it was only her that was raising me. So she wanted to do like the best job, giving the most love and support, which hindsight, I really was taken advantage of because I knew that she always had my back. And she had my back through everything. Like even if the teacher would call home saying that I did something wrong, my mom would have my back because she just cared about me, loved me so much. And I ended up taking advantage of it. And I even like no, there's no amount of like, there's nothing my mom could do that would actually put fear in me. Like she could yell at me and get upset, but it wouldn't put fear in me like a man or like my grandfather would put fear in me. So that was like the big factor, kind of relating back to what you were saying, is I never actually like feared my mom. The thing that would make me change from what my mom would do would be if I felt shame. If she was like shameful of the things that I did, I'd be like, oh yeah, I messed up.
So you said 5 days. Was that where you made the switch in your head that you kind of it scared you so much that you kind of started going down this better route?
It was the exact moment that I got tackled on the ground by the police officer. That was like the real moment because I don't know, I just always thought I could get away. I was young, I was fast, and that I could just, I don't know, probably outrun everyone. And as soon as I got tackled on the ground, I was like, ah, this I messed up. It was bad.
And how come, like, I'm not saying it's a bad, it's actually brilliant that you only got 5 days and you didn't go, but was there a reason that it was only 5 days, or how come that?
The reason is because what I did, I was like, I'd broken into someone's house, and that it, in like the grand scheme, that's like crazy. But in Stockton, California, that's not that crazy. Like people are doing a lot crazier things. So there's just not enough room in the jails to keep someone to keep someone locked up for just breaking into a house. Like there's people that are like doing very crazy crimes that are being let out because of the overpopulation in the jail system.
Mm, it's kind of strange because I know, I mean, that happens all around the world. So I know it happens in Ireland. I'm Irish originally. I'm living in Poland now, and I know that happens as well, which is a kind of a strange system that it kind of like you were lucky you changed your path in life. But a lot of people go, hey, what? I got 5 days for doing this, and they just kind of continue on the same kind of downward spiral, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So when like you got into the kind of nutrition and everything, I mean, like I've seen the Instagram post, you know, you're ripped, you know, so you obviously, so you might tell us your kind of training, like what way you're training, how you got into the kind of coaching side of things, like how it all kind of developed.
Yeah, so the biggest part, I knew that I needed to make a switch when I got tackled on the ground by the police officer and then I spent my time in jail. I'd always been interested in like reading and doing those things. So when I was in jail, I was reading books. Like I think I read through like a full book in just those 5 days because you have nothing to do, obviously. And then I was training. I've always known, I've always taken like accountability for the things that I've done. And you're always in control of certain things, like your mindset, the way that you talk to yourself, the effort that you put in, and then your daily habits, which I like fully invested in when I was locked up. Like I made sure that I read, I made sure that I ate as clean as possible. Like you can eat junk food in there, or you can choose the cleanest food that they serve you. And then I stayed active. Doing all three of those things puts you in the highest state of mind. And that's where it really started. Then years later down the road, it just would pick up and I would gradually just add to that process. Things that made me feel good internally, I would just keep doing them. Like that's the biggest problem with a lot of people is they do something that makes them feel really good, like eating healthy or getting active, and then they do it one time. Like then they lose all the momentum and they just try to ride that wave just from one day of doing it throughout the week when you've got to do it daily.
And like, I didn't know you kind of had a choice in the prison of eating because there's some I forget the name of it. There was a program on recently where they were kind of letting the inmates kind of congregate in the open area instead of being locked up 23 hours. And so you were actually seeing a lot what was going on. And, you know, they get their tray, they all get the same food, a lot of bread. And it's kind of like in hospitals, really toxic food, which isn't good for your brain and kind of brings out a lot of aggression as well. So is it that you were only eating what you knew was good, or is there a choice with the foods that you kind of eat?
Yeah, so when I say you have a choice, it's like you're gonna get this meal, but you have the choice to eat that meal. You understand what I'm saying? So you might get like, I don't know, a cookie or something at the end, or like it is your choice if you want to eat that. You could just eat the little chicken and the broccoli that they give you, or you could eat the cookie as well. So that's what I mean by the choice. You always have a choice of what you eat.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so you're in Tokyo, Puerto Rico, and you said you're there like 3 years. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I moved out here for work and then I eventually started coaching and I've been doing coaching ever since. It's like my life's purpose. Like to me, it would feel wrong for me to not teach the things that I've learned that I know work for me. Like every single day, getting up and reading and then self-reflecting through journaling and then getting active. Like if I didn't teach those to people because I know that they work for me, it would be wrong for me. It's like I can't withhold this information. It's very simple, but people don't realize how powerful it is.
Mm. I mean, I know it's 5 days, so maybe it's different, but I thought that when you go into prison that you're not allowed travel then after that. Am I wrong with that? I thought that was the case.
Yeah, no, so it depends on like what happens at the end of the case. If you get put on probation. So I got out of jail. I was released out of jail because they put me on an ankle monitor. So I was on house arrest. So they put the ankle monitor on you in the jail and they're like, all right, you can go home, but you're staying home. Like if you leave outside of this house, it like the tracker, it updates to the probation officer every single minute. So if they see that you leave the house, it immediately pings and then the police are going to be looking for you. So that's what I was released on house arrest. I did that for 13 or 3 weeks. I mean, yeah, 3 weeks. Did that for 3 weeks and eventually, I was just doing pretty good on the little probation, so they let me off house arrest, and then I stayed on probation, which means I just check in with the police officer about once a week. Did that for 2 years.
And were you living at home with your mother during this time when you were on your
Yeah,
ankle? And how
yeah, I
did
was
your
still.
mother kind of what was the conversation when she realized you got arrested? What?
Oh, I mean, it was crazy. She was like, because she came and visited me when I was in jail. I had only had the one phone call, and the phone call didn't work. It was like a bad phone. The connection was terrible, so I don't know. The police officer ended up talking to her, telling her that she could come and visit me. She came and I mean, she like you could just tell that she had obviously been like crying in the car before she had walked in, and she's like trying to hold it together. And as soon as she sees me, like she ended up giving me a hug. It was just like she just broke down, of course, because like I'm her son. So yeah,
And like, because I mean, I know that it's something like 84% go back to prison and everything. So you're kind of like the exception. And it's a shame because I think it can be changed by actually having the right programs and meditation and different things that could help people, but they don't. They want this, it's a money kind of spiral. But like, when you're going in there and you're on your coming back on a with a monitor or an ankle bracelet and stuff like that. I mean, obviously the fare is there, but for her to see you turn your life around, that must be severe. Like she must be extremely proud now because at one stage she's probably thinking, "Where's this going to go?"
yeah, exactly. I think there's two reasons, at least for like my city. Maybe this might apply to more people, but why they go back. So the number one reason I would say is because of like the probation. So if you're already hanging around bad people and then you get locked up and then you get released on probation, the probation, you were like walking around on eggshells. Like if you get caught doing anything, if you were like caught jaywalking, or for my case, if I got kicked out of class because I was on probation while I was in high school. If I got kicked out of class for like being disrespectful or anything bad happened, like during those 2 years, that's violation of probation and you go back to jail. So it is very, very easy to go back to jail, even for a regular good citizen. Like if they're on probation, the chance of them going back to jail is just very likely because if you do anything wrong, you're going to jail. And then the second thing is in my city, like if you do those kind of things, you go to jail, you're like praised for it. Like, I don't know, you just get like cool points to say, you know what I mean? So a lot of people would go, I know very many people that have gone to jail or gone on probation, getting arrested, and then it just builds to their confidence of like their street credit and like, oh yeah, I went to, and that's what it is. So to me, it was the complete opposite. I'm like, hell no, like this scares me. I don't like it. I'm not afraid to admit that I was scared that I didn't like that. Everyone else just uses it as a confidence booster and it just pushes them further along.
And like, I know 5 days is long enough because it's a horrible experience and you don't know where it's going, but it's also enough to kind of know what's going on there. Like the kind of how the running of it and everything went. Because like I was talking to one psychologist that was on my show, Dr. Fred, and he was basically helping people that were in prison and everything. And he was saying most of them are lovely. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been abused from a young age and everything, and hence why they kind of the anger comes out and they end up just spiraling down. And he said the worst people that he came across were the actual guards that were there. So I'm just curious, what were the people
Mm.
like that were there, the fellow prisoners, and also the guards? Were they treating you with respect or were they treating you like you were dirt?
Oh yeah, no, it was good. My experience wasn't bad. I mean, I was real respectful, so I felt they just treated me with respect as well. And then the people that I was in there with, I knew one guy from like the outside, so that was kind of it was weird to see that he was in there. We grew up like riding BMX bikes together, so it was great to see him in there. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. I was in like a real low level like security unit just because of what I'd only broke into a house. So there's 5 levels to the jail system that I was in, and I was at the lowest level.
And now that you've kind of making a change in life, have you self-reflected of the pain that you caused to somebody when you break into their house? And I'll explain to you. When I grew up in a terrible neighborhood, like, you know, they used to be joyriding every night, burning out cars and everything. And I was in a fight nearly every day. And when I was, I don't know, was it 18 or something like that? I had a motorbike. I had five locks, you know, because we had terraced houses. So I had it locked onto the fence. I had a steering lock, I had disc lock, I had all the different things. They broke into the house, came into my bedroom, and took the keys. And it was like I locked my bedroom door for 10 years after that. It was like it was bad enough like they took my brand new bike because it was like I worked hard to get this motorbike. And they took my brother's as well. They crashed his. But it was like, you know, you're going in, you're looking for money and stuff like that. But have you ever thought of the damage that you do, or if there's kids in the house or something? And like they took my mother's bags and threw them out in the thing. It was total disrespect. Like, I don't think people kind of give a shit about the persons that they're doing because they're looking at the money. But when you actually take a turn, did you ever think back of the shit that you done that hurt people?
Nah, for sure. Like it, I mean, because in the moment I was 16 years old. I didn't care. I didn't even think of anything. Like I didn't have any of those thoughts in the moment. But hindsight is like just like you said, like these people to this day, like are probably still locking their door, double checking everything, like have this level of fear. When I got arrested, one of the worst things about it is they kept me. So the police came, tackled me on the ground, and then I stayed there outside of the house. I mean, there was probably 10 cop cars that pulled up, like an investigation unit, 10 cop cars, and then they waited for the homeowner to come. And then they like I guess it was procedure or something, but I was sitting in the back of the cop car and they opened up the door and I looked face to face with the homeowner that I'd broken into his house. And he just looked at me, I looked at him, and I just like it was just crazy. Like I just felt like so bad. And I'd seen the person. Like it just made it made the experience much different. Like because originally I was just breaking into a house and I was real poor myself. I thought that was one of the best options. And then I seen like this is a real person, like that I've just broken into their house, like completely ruined their day, year, like I don't know, the way that they feel about other humans, trust, the safety of their home. And yeah, it wasn't good, no.
And like, because I think that's something, I don't know, do they do that in prison? But I think they need to bring them back because usually they go through us. I mean, it's hard to know. Like, not, I don't mean the movies, but I mean when there's a real life stuff that you're seeing the things. And I'm 100% for actually helping people. Like, you know, when they're going in and they're having their gangs and they're all building one against the other and everything. I mean, that's not going to work. What I've seen a load of, like, I'm reading a book at the moment, and the guy kind of got into yoga, meditation and stuff, and he started going to the prisons and helping people and turning their life around. And he's been doing it for 30 years. I mean, you see that kind of stuff, like you think it's fantastic. And like I think that reflection is a good starting point because the fact that so many percent come back out and do the same thing again, if they actually know the pain that they've caused or can actually see the life of a person that's been severely traumatized because of, especially, I mean, it's bad enough being your host, but I know some people like they're robbed at knife point, gun point, and things like that. But I mean, Jesus, I hope that never happens to me. And I can only imagine, like, you just get paranoid for the rest of your life when you go through something like that. And they should be conscious of that and kind of understand, because I think from an understanding point of view, you're not going to repeat the offense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of people just do these crimes and just very selfish point of view, and then I don't know, they just go through with this idea that yeah, it's crazy. I think that they definitely should see the real damage that they've done to people. Like taking everything to a deeper level always makes it better, I feel like.
So let's turn the lights back on. And
Yeah.
so you help people with dealing with negative self-talk. And I mean,
Mm.
that happens with a load of people. So I mean, maybe touch on that for the start, because I think most listeners, they have that at some stage of their life. Some people have it all the time.
Yeah, so literally, I was just talking about it this morning on my Instagram. I've always woken up with just negative self-talk. Like I would just tell myself that the things that I'm doing throughout the day, like, oh, why are you even like going to the gym, or why are you working out, or why are you coaching? Like I just start talking all crazy to myself, and it's just so natural. I have felt this way since I was in high school, like 14, 15, and it would drag on throughout the entire day. Like I would feel sad, negative for no reason. Like I had just woken up in the day. I don't even know why I feel like this. And I would realize, eventually I would realize, like, I would talk to myself, like, Zay, like, why are you even, like, nothing's even happened. And then boom, I would snap out of it. I just had like a 30-minute discussion in my mind about all this negative stuff. And then I would stop it because I realized it. Now to this day, like this morning, I'm having negative self-talk and it's like a 20-second discussion. I close it immediately because I know none of the shit I'm saying is true. But then I have to prove that none of the things that I'm saying is true. And I do that by immediately, as soon as I get up, I immediately start reading, I self-reflect through journaling, and then I go and get active. Those 3 steps is literally the key to getting rid of the negative self-talk and building you past the base level all the way up to that high frequency state of mind. Like that is the key, doing those 3 things. It's just, you literally feel inner peace doing all of those things. My mentor, Wes Watson, says inner peace is not knowing time as it passes by. That's exactly what you experience when you're reading, when you're self-reflecting, and when you're getting active. Like you're never in the gym. If you're really having a good workout, pushing yourself intensely, you're not wondering about the time or anything else going on in the world. You're just focused in that moment and you're just living in inner peace.
And like, actually, I mean, I never went to the gym as such until it's nearly 2 years now. I just, it wasn't something for me. I always do martial arts and play sports, squash and things like that. But what I found is there was people just let me down. When you go, they go, we will next week, or I'm busy or whatever. And it's like if I set my mind to do something, play a game of squash or whatever, like I was like, yeah, this. So I started going to the gym. I go to classes and stuff like that. And like I have my own, I don't have a coach. I kind of just go through the whole thing. But what I do is I kind of do an intense kind of 30, 40 minutes, then I'll do the sauna and I'm gone. But I see some people that are going like for 2 hours. Is it that you just find your kind of what works for you and use it as a socializing thing? Or what's the best way when people start going to the gym?
Yeah, so it's all based off your goals, but the main point of training and dieting and everything is that like the surface level is to create the physical body that you admire. But the deeper level is the mindset, like putting you in that high frequency state of mind. Like you've never gone and done an intense workout and be like, this was a waste of time. Like, no, you feel amazing after. Like if you were driving down the road directly after a training session and someone cut you off in the road, like you wouldn't even be mad because that's like low energy. You're vibing way up here, you would just like smile, maybe laugh, like, dang, that guy was mad or something, and just keep on going. But if you started your day off low energy and someone did that, like now you're ready to like cuss them out and just like let it ruin your whole day. So the whole purpose of the training and then the eating is it just keeps you at that high frequency state of mind. Like that is the best version of you. If you're eating 3 meals throughout the day and you know that is going to get you to the person that you admire, like in alignment with your goal, you are going to be on fire. Like you're going to feel so good. Like the food is going to taste better. Like you know that you're just eating cleaner. Your mental state is getting better. That is like the true purpose of the training and nutrition is to get you that mindset.
And with like body fat, then the best way of actually burning it. And
Yeah, the best way for sure is going to be the diet. I mean, that's 80%. Like my mom has the best story that I've ever seen in my life. My mom, I don't know the exact number that she was at her biggest. She was at over 300 pounds. She was over 300 pounds, like gigantic, like huge. She lost 100 pounds in 1 year. She lost it from walking and dieting. 100 pounds. Like that is crazy.
yeah, that's
People being able
fantastic.
to lose, yeah, people being able to lose 10 pounds is like mind blowing. Like if someone got on the scale today that was overweight and lost 10 pounds, they would have the same level of confidence as someone that like has a six pack because they're literally like, I always say, people think that the goal that they're trying to achieve, they're going to get that feeling someday in the future. Like you literally feel it right now. Like the big person that's overweight, my mom that was 300 pounds walking around the neighborhood, she's feeling that high level of frequency right then in that moment, even though she's 300 pounds. So it's not a day that she's waiting for where like, once I'm 180, I'm going to feel the best ever. Like, no, you're going to feel the best ever every single day that you're in alignment with that goal.
And like, is there some like with nutrition then? Is it with like there's all different things people saying take the keto whatever diet, then there's people the
Uh,
vegetarian, then there's meat only and all that. Like I mean I think the blood group kind of makes a difference as well, but for me personally, I mean I do eat meat years ago, and I mean before even people became popular I went off meat for about 6 months and I just didn't feel right for me. I didn't feel my energy levels, and I kind of know from what I eat how I feel. I kind of touch in with myself. But like, is there, with what you're actually doing and studying and everything, have you noticed that keep to a certain diet, it really helps?
yeah. So the perfect diet is to just know your macros. So like if you really want to focus on like a pescatarian diet or a keto diet, do it. It's fine. It's going to work out. But you need to know your macronutrients, which is your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. Those are the three numbers. Like, it is very simple, but once we become adults, we make things super complicated. I could walk into a kindergarten classroom and say, hey guys, today we're going to learn about macronutrients. It's proteins, fats, and carbs. If you don't go above these three numbers, you're going to get this result. And they would all understand it, start clapping, and be perfectly fine. But once we get older, we just make it all crazy. It's literally very simple. If you train and eat your right macronutrients, you're going to get to your goal. There's no doubt about it. So you can choose any diet you want. You can have no meat, you can have only meat, you can have eggs. Know your macronutrients, and it's all going to work out.
And in the gym, you see loads of people taking these kind of protein shakes, and do they actually help? And I've even seen somebody that were like, they were told they were like obese and they were saying to take this. I was thinking that you shouldn't be taking that if you're obese, but I mean, I'm not studying this. So I'm just curious, both for the benefits of taking these protein shakes, whey powder or whatever it is, and even if you're obese, should you be taking them?
So look, I would recommend protein powder to just very few people and just very small moments throughout like the month or throughout the year. Because protein powder, like macronutrients, is how you lose weight and drop weight. Like gain weight, lose weight, build muscle, lose fat. But you can have your macros on point, but still eat very poorly. Like you can eat potato chips and French fries and like hit your macro goals. You know what I mean? So the point that I'm saying is protein powder is good because you're going to hit your protein limit, but there's not very much nutritional value in protein powder. You understand what I'm saying? So like all the micronutrients, like all the vitamins and everything like that, that's what like gives you the cognitive thinking and able to like feel good throughout the day. Like, so you want to get all, if not most of your nutrients from whole foods, from like natural whole foods. But protein powder, of course, at the end of your day, if you've ate real healthy and you've just gotten to the end of the day and you need 20 grams of protein, have a protein shake. It's going to get you to that protein limit.
Like, especially with the food and the gym, self-discipline. I mean, I'm self-motivated. I mean, in the morning when I get up, I'm just thinking, okay, how do I like to see the day going? I always plan, I write down what I want to do and everything. And yeah, I mean, I'm in a good space, been in a good space for a good few years, sleep very well and everything, but not everybody has got self-discipline. So what's the tips you could give people for having self-discipline that they stay on the track? Like, because I think what I have seen with people on the gym is they decide, I want to do it. I've seen somebody recently and they like go every day. And I was like, don't, you're doing it too much. You can't maintain this. And of course, oh, my knee is sore, and they stop doing it. And you're like, that's not the way to go. So
yeah. So it is very simple. I always tell people you do not lack motivation or discipline. You lack your understanding of knowing your why. I literally have it on my phone, my why. It says to be able to protect and provide for my current and future family. That is my why. So as soon as I get up in the morning, 4 a.m. every morning, and I see that, it doesn't matter if I get 2 hours of sleep or a full 6, 7 hours of sleep. As soon as I see that, I'm going to get out of bed. Because it would be pretty lame of me to not get out of bed after reading that. Like, oh yeah, today I'm just not going to work to protecting and providing for my family. I'm just not going to do it today. I'm too tired. No, that is never going to happen. Like, but people say that they understand that knowing their why is important, but then they don't actually go and do it. So I truly recommend that people like would pause this video and figure out their why. Like understand why they want to do what they're doing in life. It could take 15 minutes of just sitting and doing some thinking, or it could take days. But when you figure out a true why that is deep and personal to you, it changes everything. Like I literally have it on my phone. I have a picture of me and my grandpa and me and my little sister. That's all I need. I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. and then I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do everything I need to do because I know why I'm doing it. So when I'm tired, when I haven't got enough food for the day or anything that's going on, I get too busy or I run out of time, I'm going to do it because I know why.
Do you set your clock for 4 a.m. or do you wake up naturally at 4 a.m.?
Oh, I set it at 4. I'm going to make sure I get up at 4. Yeah.
Okay. And how many hours do you typically sleep?
So I aim for 7 hours. I go to bed at 9, wake up at 4. But I mean, most of the time I'm usually going to bed probably about 10 or so. But it just depends on what's going on during the day. And that my bedtime and the amount of sleep I get is my last priority of the day because I'm not going to go to sleep until everything is accomplished throughout the day. Like it doesn't matter. So hopefully I get everything done in time and then I'll get the sleep that I want. But if not, I'm going to do what I got to do regardless.
And I mean, like there's coaches for the gym, but you're doing the kind of mindset and nutrition, which I think is very important because they are combined. But sometimes people they just do the one. And I mean, I've even heard because I've heard at the gym someone giving out to somebody because they're going to the gym every day, but they're drinking alcohol every night, and the person was saying, "Look, you're not doing yourself any favors," you know. So it's like I think you have to combine them to actually make the best results.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like mindset training and nutrition coaching because anyone can get a training plan or a diet plan. Anyone can get that. But I'm going to teach you the mindset to get the results and to keep the results. One simple little tip that is going to make a drastic difference for most people is when they're dieting, they're like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. Like, oh my God. And they're just telling themselves this negative story. What they don't understand is that hunger is the feeling of fat being burned. You want to be that, you want to feel that. Like when I get hungry, I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad I'm hungry. That is what you should tell yourself. If I tell myself that every single day for the next 90 days, I'm going to be successful. But if I tell myself for the next 90 days, oh my goodness, I'm so hungry. I mean, come on, just think about it. The chances of you sticking to that diet with you talking to yourself like that is not going to happen. So I tell all my clients that, like, be happy when you get hungry. If you're not hungry, there's something wrong. There's something wrong, like literally. So, I mean, that one switch alone is like puts you on the path to success very quickly when you realize that that is what you want to feel. You are literally feeling fat being burned as you're hungry.
I've never heard that before, but I love it. That's actually a brilliant way of, and I hear some people like they fast for 2 days and stuff like that. And I heard the benefits of like because the cells and all like they start the toxic cells start disappearing and everything like that. Is that something that you would encourage where people kind of do a full day fast or a couple of days fast?
So some people have that for religious reasons or for the reasons that it cleanses out your body. I don't do that personally. I just if you stick to these same numbers consistently over time, you are going to get this result. So I don't teach that to my clients, but I mean, I'm sure it might work depending on the studies that people have found.
Very good. I know you deal with with depression as well, and I think it's a combination of all because I think when people are eating crappy food like Oreos and McDonald's and stuff like that, yeah, they get the kind of boost. Oh, I feel great, but 10 seconds later you're down, and then you're just putting toxins into your body. Like so, obviously nutrition has a huge one, but for depression, what other kind of tips would you give people?
So I don't have depression myself, but like I said, I do wake up with this negative self-talk every day. And I believe a lot of people probably deal with the same thing. And then someone asked me one time, like, oh, why do you wake up with that negative self-talk? And then I thought about it and I was like, I don't think it matters why I wake up with that negative self-talk because I have the solution. And it's not bad that I have the negative self-talk because it forces me to get directly into my self-development path. Like I know that native self-talk is going to go away immediately as soon as I start reading, self-reflecting, and getting active. If I don't do those things, now my day is bad. Like we literally, I not even on anything like positive or just being unrealistic. I don't know the last time I had a bad day. And that's because I choose to have a good day. I know that if I get up and do what I know I'm supposed to do every single day, it is going to be a good day. I literally like no joke, 11 to 13 wins every single day. There's that the two spaces in between. That's because if I hit a new record in the gym that day, that's what it would be 13. But I have 11 to 13 wins every single day. If someone that deals with depression has 13 wins every single day, I guarantee their mindset is going to be a lot better by the end of the day.
Um,
Like,
like people don't realize as well. Like I mean, you mentioned the negative self-talk in the morning and you switch it. You can't have two emotions at once. So as soon as you feel it coming in, you don't accept it and embrace it. You say, get away. And then you start thinking differently. And you give your why. You look at your phone and you see the pictures of the people that you love and your mission
yeah,
in life. And I think people realize because you cannot be in the first state once you do that, you're gone.
yeah.
It's no longer that. And then you're on the road and you're just after coming off the racetrack, you're like Usain Bolt just taking off.
Yeah, and I mean, so many people like we are masters at staying comfortable, which means we're masters at making excuses. My grandpa was in a wheelchair for 50 years. He never got fat one time. I mean, that's like that makes me have zero sympathy for anyone else that's gotten fat because I mean, he's you can't even walk. And there's just so many things that we're in control of. Like as soon if you deal with depression, I don't feel like getting out of bed. Well, grab a book and then read from the bed then. Or like there are things that you are absolutely in control of. Your effort and then the way that you talk to yourself based off your daily habits. But if you deal with depression and you don't do anything for the day, I mean, how is anyone supposed to help you? You can control what you eat. Like no one is forcing you to eat that food. If the bare minimum you just ate healthy in alignment with your goal, you would feel massively better. Like those are massive wins.
And like you've mentioned a few times about your reading, I mean, I'm an avid reader. I read up to 100 books a year. I just love reading. I'm just curious what kind of stuff that you're reading that kind of fuels you.
So my two favorite books, one is right there behind me, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, excellent
Think and Grow
book.
Rich. Yeah, I love that book. That was the first book I ever read, actually. I growing up, I mean, I was like breaking into houses. I wasn't reading books. There's no way I was reading
You
books.
should have been robbing their library.
Yeah, definitely. But I got that recommended from my college professor, and I literally love the book. Like I would be at work on my lunch break reading the book, and like where I'm from, that's crazy. No one is doing that. Like you're just on your phone on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. But I was so fascinated with that book, and then so that's my favorite book. Second would be Think and Grow Rich, and then probably Rich Dad Poor Dad
Yeah,
would
they're
be
all
third.
good. They're all good books. And I mean, of the most notes that I've actually had in a book was the Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like it was like just so much underlined that it was like a book that you can keep reading it because we think, yeah, you read it once and that's it. It's not. I make sure I read that a couple of years, every few years I reread it because
Yeah.
you forget some of the stuff and it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
do I know it? It's knowing it and applying it. If you're applying it, you know it. But if you're not applying it, you don't really know it.
And that's one thing I love about that book so much is because I worked at a store called Dillard's, and it's like, it's like a nice store. I was selling suits, so I would sell suits, and I would literally read a chapter, and I could go apply what I read immediately. Like that's what I loved about it so much. You can apply it immediately, so that is a great book. I love that book. It's on the highest shelf in my room. I love that book.
No, but I think that's the way to do it actually, is that when you're reading to be actually actioning it. Because sometimes people they read a book and then they just put it down to get the next book. And it's like, what did you actually plan to do from that? It's like your life. And the way you said you wake up in the morning, you have a mission. And I think it's the same with a book. Like I'll read a book and I'll make all the notes and I'll have
Yeah,
little boxes. And then I go back and I go through the whole lot and make sure I action what I've just read, because then it makes it actually worthwhile as opposed to just
yeah.
kind of putting the knowledge. So
Yeah, it's like
fine.
I don't know if you've ever seen like it's like in like first grade, second grade classrooms was like a pyramid, and at the bottom of the pyramid, it's a pyramid of learning. Like you like 10%, you remember 10% of what you read, and then the most of what you know is what you're actually doing or what you're teaching. So if you're able to teach what you've learned, you know that you've actually learned it. That's like kind of where you're going.
Yeah, yeah, no, excellent. So just finally, you're in Tokyo for 3 years. Are you learning the language and are your clients based there, English speaking, or both Japanese as well?
So I was trying to learn the language for a little bit, but I knew I wasn't going to be here for a long time. So honestly, I didn't put very much effort into it, and then I stopped. But yeah, my clients are English speaking. I've got clients California. I've got clients out here. I've got clients all around. So it's getting good. It's getting real good.
So you do kind of in person and also online. You've clients as well, yeah.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, majority is online.
Okay, so I suppose the final one is how can people find you so that they actually, if they're interested after hearing what they heard there, how they can find you.
Yeah, so the best way to find me is on Instagram. My Instagram is MudvilleZay. So MudvilleZay. And Mudville is the nickname of my city. So MudvilleZay.
Okay, I'll make sure I put the link both in the audio and the video. Thank you very much.
Yep. Pleasure.
So that's all for the speaking podcast. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and comment. Let us know what you thought about this. We don't have to agree, but once you're, not disrespectful, it stays up. Until next week, take care. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and share with your friends. And you'll find all my shows with the QR code or bio.link/podcaster, as well as my podcast coaching. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, DanielPacker.com, helping people with anxiety, stress, and addictions. He's got a 90% success rate, and you only pay if you're successful. Also, if you'd like to go on a podcasting tour, I can help you do that. And if you're interested in sponsorship, you can contact me on my bio.link/podcaster. Until next week, take care.